Viewers, in what appears to be a jolt to the Congress party in Karnataka, the High Court has set aside the victory of Congress MLA SN Subba Reddy in the 2023 Assembly polls. SN Subba Reddy was the MLA who won the 2023 polls from the Bagepalli constituency, but the High Court has now set aside this particular victory after allegations of election malpractice. In its order, the High Court has declared the election as null and void. Now, what really is this entire case about? This comes after there was a petition filed more than 2 years ago by BJP candidate C. Muniraju, the runner-up in this election, against the eventual winner. The BJP leader has alleged that the Congress MLA had filed incorrect nomination papers and had concealed actual details regarding his assets and liabilities. In his petition, he had put forth two demands before the High Court. One, he wanted the Congress MLA's victory declared invalid, and secondly, he wanted the court to declare him as the winner and the MLA of Bagepalli. After hearing the petition for over 2 years, the High Court has finally delivered a verdict in favor of the BJP candidate. However, the High Court has refused to name the runner-up from the BJP as the MLA of Bagepalli. Instead, the High Court has issued notice to the Election Commission of India and the Secretary of the Vidhan Sabha. Here's what the court has said in its verdict. The High Court has very clearly annulled the Congress MLA's win. The first observation is that Subba Reddy concealed information in his affidavit. The second is that the Congress MLA has failed to disclose his sources of income. The third observation is there's been a non-disclosure as far as 2 acres and 22.5 guntas of land are concerned. They've also gone on to say that agricultural land was converted to non-agricultural land. The tax of the properties owned by the MLA's wife and daughter were due, falsely declared that he's not liable to pay any dues. They've also gone on to add that the Congress MLA's non-disclosures amount to corrupt practices. Now, citing this verdict, the BJP is targeting the Congress leadership, accusing them of actual vote chori via election malpractice. On the other hand, Congress seems to believe that even the judiciary is now under the pressure of the BJP. In fact, Congress leader Subba Reddy's legal team is now preparing to escalate the matter to the Supreme Court.
This is something regarding a affidavit put up by the candidate, our MLA. There's some discrepancy there. I also spoke to him. It's a very minor discrepancy. So I'm sure he will again go to court.
It's a very rare, and there are far more serious issues pending in the courts. And there are so many cases where rigging has been done, and those cases are pending in High Court, Supreme Court, but such things are not happening. So that means that what it shows that the judiciary is also under pressure.
It is very clear and evident that the vote chori thought which comes to Rahul Gandhi can be only from their party. Vote chori concept itself belongs to the Congress party.
He talks about vote chori, but actually the real Khandani vote chor is the Congress party itself. They are the real election chores, because Congress MLA Subba Reddy in Karnataka has lost his seat. It has been cancelled by the Karnataka High Court after he has been found guilty and convicted of poll malpractice.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's quickly take this across to our guest now. Joining us is Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of BJP. We have Karan Verma, author, joining us. Advocate Umar Junaidi is also with us on the show. Advocate Umar Junaidi, it's not just, a slip on part of this particular MLA. This is a very, very clear sign of some kind of fraud. In fact, let me just read out what the court has specifically said. The court says that he has not disclosed his sources of income, details of businesses being run by him and his wife. He has also failed to disclose lands owned by them and their nature. He has falsely declared of not being able to pay any dues. And all of this amounts to corrupt practice, amounting to undue influence, falling within ambit subsection 2 of section 123, and would form a ground for declaring his election void. What would you say about the High Court's observation?
Madhav, good evening to all the fellow panelists and the viewers. Now the election petition is concerned. The Honorable High Court has passed the order, and I do believe in the judiciary, and being an advocate, it's my responsibility to believe in judiciary. The judgment passed by the High Court of Karnataka is fine, but the very point is the entire procedure of filing of affidavit, the declaration comes under the scrutiny. It is the duty of the election officer on that part that he or she has to verify all the details given by the candidates, and it is the duty of the opponent as well to raise the objections during the scrutiny. But the fact is, when the opponents loses the election...
Umar Junaidi, are you saying that the candidate giving wrong details is not liable? It is the election commission and his rivals who are liable. Are you actually making that argument?
No. What argument I am making is, it is definitely whoever is contesting the election has to file the correct affidavit. Filing of false affidavit is a criminal offense, and that's what the court has given the verdict on. But the very point is, after the election, the defendants, who have been defeated, they raise the question, they go before the High Court and they seek the orders against the MLAs. It is not a practice which has to be, praised upon.
What is an election petition for? Please tell me. You yourself just said it's an election petition. You're a lawyer. What are election petitions for?
It is a discrepancy in the part of the scrutiny.
Not of the person who's making the false allegation. This is amazing. Umar Junaidi, this is an argument I've never come across before in my life. Let me just read out what further has been stated. Because see, if this was a mistake of the scrutinizing officer, I'm sure the court would have had a thing or two to say about that, or of the rival, as you are rightly saying. The court has specifically said it would be difficult to accept that there is substantial compliance of the requirement of declaration or disclosure. This court has come to the conclusion there is non-compliance of the requirement of disclosure of sources of income and assets and liabilities, as well as false declaration in respect to the following. And then he goes on to list that. Now, these are very strong words, which are raising questions about the MLA.
When there is a question of non-compliance, who is the responsible authority to take the decision on the the B forms? It is the election officer.
The election officer. So you are saying that the election officer is like a super CBI who will go on and investigate each plot of land, each investment, and then look at whether he is correct or not. Is that what you expect? And is that the standard practice during election?
It takes almost about 3 years to prove that he has filed the false affidavit.
Yeah, 2 years. That's the whole point. Okay, let me bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, the argument coming from Umar Junaidi is that the officials concerned should have scrutinized better. The opponent should have raised this issue better during the election, not so many years later. Please respond to what is being stated by Mr. Umar Junaidi.
बड़े बेआबरू होकर तेरे कूचे से हम निकले, बहुत मेरे अरमान निकले, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ कम निकले. The Karnataka High Court no less has shown the mirror to the Darbari ecosystem, including their head honcho Rahul Gandhi, who's been screeching vote chori from every available rooftop. Let me say one thing very clearly, Madhav. I've read the Karnataka High Court verdict in detail. They've actually quoted Section 100 of the Representation of People's Act 1951, saying the election petition was incorrect and willfully wrong information was filed by the then petitioner, in this case, SN Subba Reddy. Then the Karnataka High Court cited Section 123 of the RPA Act 1951, citing corrupt practices of Subba Reddy were willfully hidden. Then the Karnataka High Court spoke of Section 8 of the RPA Act 1951, saying that the false affidavit deliberately hid the fact that Subba Reddy and his spouse were engaging in tax evasion for the longest time, not to mention converting agricultural land into non-agricultural land for the purpose of evading taxes. So Section 100, Section 123, Section 8 of the RPA Act 1951 was flouted by Subba Reddy. But I want to focus on one very important issue in 5 seconds. After the verdict was read out by the Karnataka High Court judge, do you know what Subba Reddy's lawyer said? He said, can you please, your lordship, keep your order on hold, because my petitioner wants to approach the Supreme Court So let the order not be made operational till then. The Karnataka High Court said nothing doing. It is the prerogative of the Election Commission and the Lok Sabha Speaker of the Karnataka Assembly to decide on further modalities. You can approach the Supreme Court as and when you want within the ambit of law. So the second point I want to make is, एक तो चोरी ऊपर से सीना चोरी, उल्टा चोर कोतवाल को डांटे. You have been found guilty of falsifying information and then you want the Karnataka High Court to put a stay on its own order. थोड़ी शर्म बची है या नहीं? And let me tell you one more thing. While K.Y. Nanjegowda of Malur constituency, his election which was held invalid in October 2025 was subsequently restored in February 2026 by the Supreme Court. It does throw open a can of worms, a Pandora's box. This has stirred the hornet's nest and shown to us.
Let me now bring in the other panelists. Said Aslam Pasha, simple question. I have a simple question for you, Said Aslam Pasha. The question is this, that at the end of the day, there are serious questions about the conduct of this MLA. Land is, converted from agriculture to commercial use. Tax is not declared as all paid. There is no pending dues. Various assets and businesses are not declared. Why do we have income declaration forms then for our elected leaders if they are going to lie so much in their declaration?
Yeah. So Madhav, I got it, but I just want to tell Sanju ji, बेशर्मी की हद आपने पार की है 2023 elections में. आप शर्म की बात मत कीजिए at least, right? So now coming back to the topic, Madhav, I am just telling one simple thing. Of course,
the point is, in this particular election, at least, one second. Said Aslam Pasha, let me just come in 1 minute. You can answer the question, but the point is, on a day like this, when the courts are holding that a member's election is illegal, certainly such an argument should not be coming out. Now, please explain. Why should this particular person continue to be an MLA? If he has lied on so many counts, and you have Mr. Dinesh Gundu Rao saying these are mere technicalities. This is not one or two, but a whole dozen of them.
Well, absolutely. Okay, Madhav, thank you so much. Madhav, just allow me uninterrupted 1 minute. Let me just speak. Now, we all honor the wisdom of the High Court. Based on the technicalities, they have kept aside the election of Bagepalli for Mr. Subba Reddy. Now, the point is, does he have a right to contest and appeal in the Supreme Court? Of course, yes. And like Sanjuji rightly said, there was one MLA from Malur. His election was restored by the court. So we respect both the wisdom of the the High Court, and of course both are respected equally. Now, if you have to talk about this, of course the code of conduct will be checked. It will be appealed in the Supreme Court, and of course whatever the Supreme Court says, that becomes the final. Okay, we all honor that.
Certainly. I'm not denying the fact that you can go to Supreme Court, but I'm asking you a pointed question, Said Aslam Pasha. With the court observing that this amounts to corrupt practice and this amount to undue influence falling under subsection 2 of section 123, a question I earlier posed to Umar Junaidi, that would form a ground for declaring his election void under such and such clause B of subsection 1 of section 100 of the Representation of People Act 1951. If this is not vote chori, then what is?
No. So I'll tell you what vote chori is. Madhav, since you spoke about vote chori, I will tell you what vote chori is. Vote chori is giving impunity. Vote chori is giving impunity to the chief election officer. Vote chori is removing the CGI from the election selection panel. Vote chori is having 200 times the same names. That is vote chori. Having Brazilian model for more than 20 times in Haryana election, in one of the assembly segments having more than 200 names, 200 times the same name. Vote chori is having a Brazilian model for more than 20 times.
Repeating it twice doesn't make it a stronger argument. Said Aslam Pasha, answer the question. If all those are, let me take your arguments at face value. And let me say that everything you are saying, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, the Congress party has been saying is completely true. Then doesn't this become hugely embarrassing? When your own MLAs are found not following the law?
No, Madhav, indeed, if the High Court has given the verdict saying that the election has to be kept aside, it is not the right thing to happen. But of course, he will appeal in the Supreme Court. Having said that, in the same breath, does it embarrass the BJP? There are so many allegations which have been made. You ask the opposition party to file an affidavit. Is the Election Commission acting fair and fine?
May I ask you, sir, please tell us one court verdict which has shown that there is vote chori. Is there one evidence in terms of a court order or any such thing that you can cite?
Madhav, I as a resident of Bangalore, in one of the MP constituencies, there are thousands of incorrect, invalid voters who have voted for the BJP. We have made an allegation. Is there anything happened? I as a common citizen, forget about Rahul Gandhi Ji, he is the leader of opposition, let's forget everything. I as a resident of Bangalore, there are allegations of more than 1,000 votes which have been
That's the whole point. It's an allegation. You have to prove it at some level. No, Syed Aslam Pasha. Let me bring in Karan Verma. Karan Verma, I want you to answer this. He says that vote chori is about the whole, series of charges that opposition has been making, whether it's the change of laws, protection being given from criminal action to the election commissioners, to various charges from Bangalore to other places where voters have been missing. And there's a specific allegation. It's not just the Congress party. You have the Samajwadi party in UP, which is also saying this. You have the DMK in Tamil Nadu, which is also saying this, that there is a specific attempt at changing the entire landscape when it comes to the elections. And that is vote chori. It's a serious charge. Respond to that. Karan Verma.
Madhav, it takes a whole another level of shamelessness to brazen this out. What we've just witnessed right now here, I mean, not an iota of shame. Here is a high court, and this man continues to smile and laugh about it. Can you just imagine? Here is the high court that's saying, no, Madhav, this is not fair. I have patiently waited for my time now.
Okay, go ahead.
This is really not fair. Here is the high court saying that you are guilty of electoral malpractice. Instead of being, at least I would appreciate my friend Advocate Junaidi. He at least said that we have to respect the court, and he was sober in his disposition. Look at this man. He's saying, Sanju ji, you should be this, you should be that. Arey, you have not been able to prove anything. When the time for a petition came, your leader went abroad. He has never ascertained a single thing. Look at the dignity of the BJP here. I would say this. They did not create a ho-halla or anything about it. They went to the court. They proved it in a court of law, shamed you, got your election cancelled, and then you have the guts to brazen it out here on national television. Show some dignity. That is my humble request here. And Madhav, while the RSS is celebrating 100 years, we have the Congress party that is celebrating 50 years of emergency. Don't we remember? This is not the first time something like this has happened. Indira Gandhi was also convicted of electoral malpractice back in the day. So this runs deep, this rot runs deep in the Congress party, and then they have the guts to say, vote chori, vote chori. Sanju ji rightly said, chor machaye shor, ulta chor kotwal ko date. That is the reality. And K.N. Rajanna ascertained it. The Congress's own minister who was sidelined by Rahul Gandhi, who was someone as old as who worked during Rajiv Gandhi and Indira Gandhi's time, he was shown the door.
Okay, Syed Aslam Pasha. One by one. I'm coming to each of you one by one, please. Syed Aslam Pasha, quick response.
Right. Madhav, I just want to ask my learned friend, Mr. Karan Verma, sir, can you please explain to the nation why was the CGI removed from the selection panel of the chief election officer?
Okay.
Can you please tell that?
Okay, Karan, question for Karan. Karan, quick response.
No, second point. I'm just coming to that. The second point. So are you telling any normal citizen of India who has seen that there are so many electoral malpractices which have happened in Bangalore? It's common and visible to the naked eye of any common civilian.
That is your perception. You're entitled to your perception. You're entitled to your perception, but you have to prove this with hard facts and data. And you have every ability to do that and approach the courts as well. Similar judgment can be obtained if there is data, if there is proof to submit that. But since you asked a specific question, Karan Verma, respond to that.
I would like to tell this gentleman, my learned friend, and ask him, has the CGI ever been a part of the selection of the election commission? Ever? In the glorious history of Congress, has it ever been a part? Even the leader of opposition wasn't a part. So, you're making it as if it's the CGI who's always been a part and this government has removed it. CGI has enough issues of their own with 5 crore cases pending. In the Supreme Court, you have 70,000 cases pending. And the CGI wants a seat on the election commission appointment as well. They have never been a part of it. For the first time, we have a
there was, let me put that in context. Syed Aslam Pasha, the fact is that the judgment in which the Supreme Court said the CGI will be part of the panel, the very same judgment, if you read it fully, says that will be the provision until the time that centre passes a law. And the centre then passed a law. So what is the issue there?
Can I come in now?
Mother, one question. So I humbly respect my friend Karan. Karan, I just want to ask you the question. Okay, the CJ was not there earlier, and till the new law was brought in by the BJP, the CJ was available. Let us not do whataboutery. No, you got a thumping majority from 2014. People have elected with you with a thumping majority. And this is the third time you're coming in. What Congress had done earlier, why are you doing it? You're doing whataboutery and showing that they have done something wrong. We will do it again. Is that what it is, Mr. Karan?
Okay, this is whataboutery. Let's Sanju answer that question. Is this whataboutery happening on part of the ruling party at the center? Respond to him.
First and foremost, as Karan said, CJI has never been a part of the committee to decide who will be the chief election commissioner. At least the Modi government has ensured that it will not be the prime minister alone. There will be the leader of opposition also, who will be a stakeholder in the selection process of the CEC. Jabki jab Congress satta mein thi, the BJP, which was in opposition, was never made a stakeholder in the selection process of the CJI. That is my point number one. My second point is this, Mr. Syed Pasha, you keep saying, BJP ne malpractice ki hai, so on and so forth. Let me just give very quickly in 20 seconds 3 instances. T.N. Seshan was the chief election commissioner from 1990 to 1996. Immediately after demitting office, he was made the cabinet secretary, he was made the environment secretary, he was made a member of the planning commission, and lo behold, in 1999, he contested elections from Gandhinagar. Ye to alag baat hai that he lost big time. And the second example is KPS Gill. He was chief election commissioner from 1996 to 2001. Lo behold, he was then, after demitting office, made Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports by the Congress government. And my last example is that of Naveen Chawla, who was made the chief election commissioner in 2005 by Sonia Gandhi, who never held a constitutional position in 2005. Tab sab wajiba tha. Sonia Gandhi ne Naveen Chawla ko kyun chief election commissioner banaya?
Okay, let Umar Junaidi answer that. Serious questions about the persons who are appointed at the election commission, whether as CEC or ECs, and the conduct thereafter. For instance, some of them being made union ministers during the Congress regime. Was that fair use of the election commission or political?
That is part and parcel of the practice and the position given to several persons who have been on the higher post. In that context, the CGI is...
How many ministers have, former CECs have become ministers? Please tell me.
No, I am not talking about only minister. I am talking about some recognition given to them on their exceptional work. The CGI... recognition has been given. Several CGIs has been appointed.
I am asking about the chief election. We are discussing Vote Chori. We are discussing election commission. Let's please stick to election commission. Give me the examples.
I know what we are discussing. I am saying that is a practice. It might be CEC, the chief election commissioner, or the CGI, or anybody else.
Who are the other CECs? Please tell me.
I don't have exact numbers and names.
That is the point. But that is exactly the point. That is exactly the point. There are specific examples that have been cited. See, I have no problem if you have the facts at your disposal. You can counter Sanju Verma. You're welcome to do so. But the point is, those are some issues that raise serious questions about whether an institution is being misused. Just as the Congress party is raising today, the BJP has raised these issues in the past. That's a simple point.
Madhav, the CGI who passed the verdict on Ayodhya was given what position? You know it better. Now, what we are discussing is about Vote Chori, and this is the discrepancy, and that has to be found at the lower level. It is the basic level wherein the scrutiny has to be done.
Not at all. What are you saying? Wait, let me read out. Now, this is repeatedly... You're parading absolute nonsense on air. I'm going to read out specifics of the Representation of People Act, and the returning officer may not have an opportunity of examining the authenticity of allegations at the stage of accepting nomination as he could be done in an election petition after conducting full-fledged trial. It would be impossible to imagine such a situation at the very stage of filing of nomination. Therefore, they have specifically contended that the petitioner of improper acceptance of nomination under the fact cannot be countenanced. The point is, if there are 100 candidates, you expect the returning officer to leave all his election management duty and go and start checking the assets and liabilities of each of those candidates. Let's talk practicality, Umar Junaidi.
Yeah, speaking about practicality, Madhav, non-compliance of the mandatory provisions have been neglected.
By whom? Mandatory provisions of the candidate. The candidate has to declare honestly. That is what our system is.
No, the candidate has to declare. That is the very point.
Yeah, and then he's not doing that. So who's at fault here?
No, what is the scrutiny for? Whether the information is given correct or not? What is the scrutiny for?
Amazing.
In that case, every contestant should be filing the petitions.
Advocate Chori Raga, tell me one thing. Why is it given on an oath or an affidavit? Please tell me. You're a lawyer, right? What is the meaning of an affidavit?
The meaning of the affidavit is whatever the statements and the declaration is given by me or anybody is true.
Yes, so that is the candidate's oath. How does that become the returning officer's job?
So why this the defeated MLAs are raising the questions? It is not the duty of the other contestants to raise the objection on that?
Yes, and he is filing an election petition for precisely that purpose. What is the election petition for? All right, Karan Verma.
My point is, Madhav,
No, Madhav, for a minute, if I don't look at the screen, my friend Advocate Junaidi sounds exactly like Rahul Gandhi. Exactly. And that is why I'm telling you, he will have a tremendous future in the Congress party. Just like Rahul Gandhi, zero responsibility, zero accountability. I'm not taking care of any responsibility, what I'm putting out on an affidavit, nothing. It's the system that has to take care of me. So what if I lose 95 elections? It's the problem is with the people. Similarly, my friend is here saying, kuch bhi bharo, jo marji karo. It's the compliance. It's the officer on duty. Everyone except for me. ताउम्र यही गलती करता रहा गालिब. धूल चेहरे पे थी, आईना साफ करता रहा. तो सब सारी गलती आईने की है, सबकी है. इनकी कोई गलती नहीं है. सुब्बा रेड्डी की नहीं है, राहुल गांधी की नहीं है.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Certainly, of course, it will be interesting to see how this actually pans out, because you have a situation where today Mr. D.K. Shivkumar has approached the State Election Commission talking about certain issues and discrepancies. And of course, allegations about deletions of voters, so on and so forth. How will that argument actually carry on if this is the kind of judgment that is coming out of the High Court? No issues. If there are details, if there are discrepancies, there can be legal action taken, there can be complaints filed in courts and orders obtained similar to the one that we're seeing right before us. Sanju Verma, Karan Verma, Advocate Umar Junaidi, Syed Islam Pasha. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.